Morning Gwinnett, a division of Noise Media Network, hosted by Audrey Bell Kearney, sharing stories about people and places around beautiful Gwinnett County and beyond. Monday through Thursday at 10 a.m. Southern living at its best.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, all my Gwinnetians out there in Gwinnett land and all of you around the world. Listen to the sound of my voice. Let me tell y'all something. I started out with technical issues already this morning. It is crazy. I was like, what the? And I've been up early. Excuse me. I've been up early. I set everything up. I got everything ready to go. And when I tell you that technical problems have already kicked in, I'm like, oh my God, what is going on? So I'm freaking out. I got all this stuff going on. I'm like, what's happening? It's crazy, y'all. But that's what they were saying. They were saying there's some things that are going to happen because of the retrograde. And I wasn't trying to claim that stuff. I wasn't trying to claim it at all. I'm like, I'm not claiming any of those problems. But when I tell you we woke up this morning and there were like tech problems already, I'm like, oh Lord. So now, but the thing is, I have to be conscious of that because I set everything up. My whole studio, I've been on my mastermind call since 8 o'clock. Everything was set. And then the next thing I know, the computer won't, my computer start acting up. My StreamYard won't start. My podcast player won't play. I'm like, what is going on? But that's that whole retrograde, Mercury retrograde thing going on where it affects your communications. It affects your technology, all of that stuff. I'm like, holy crap. So I'm very conscious of what's going on. So I'm trying to keep my mindset about, okay, this is a part of the retrograde. Make sure you understand it. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. Listen, it's a great day here in Georgia. Today is 69 degrees in Gwinnett County, going up to a high of 81. So it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be a beautiful day. I have to run out of here today, but it's going to be a lovely, lovely day. Today is also Talk Tech Tuesday, so I'm excited to have my good friend Chris Hood come on today. He's going to talk to us about how to help your local business grow. That's important, y'all. I don't know if people know this, but when you have a small business and you're local, the goal is always to try to get people in the door. And even if you're online and your business is, you can always cater to local marketing online. Like I have a podcast. My podcast is very hyper local, but my second podcast that I'm about to launch, Wise Women Invest, that podcast is not hyper local. It could be, that's information for anybody. Even though a lot of the stuff I share on here is information for anybody. Good Morning Gwinnett is for Gwinnett County. That's the main focus. That's why I created Good Morning Gwinnett because I wanted to meet people in Gwinnett County because I had just recently moved here and I didn't know anybody. And I thought about going into politics and I was like, I don't have the temperament for politics just yet. Maybe at some point I will. So instead of doing that, I launched a podcast focused on my county. And so it's a hyper local podcast. Now there are businesses here that, in your county where you live, you may be a small business. Say, you know what, I really want to know how to grow my business locally. And so these talks that Chris and I do the first Tuesday every month, this is going to help you figure out how to leverage this. Today we're going to be talking more about SEO. SEO is a biggie. But it's not as complicated as most people think it is. And there's a lot of moving parts to SEO. And Chris and his team are amazing at making all that stuff happen. And for me, I just don't have the time. Like I don't have the manpower right now by myself. I don't have the time myself. So I have to employ outside people like Chris and his team to help me get my SEO in order, get my site in order, make sure that things are running smoothly. And I have to hire new people. So my goal this year is to hire a full-time assistant to help me because there's just a lot of things I can't do. And I'm hoping to do that in the next few months. So but only because I'm trying to get all my stuff. I have to get my stuff straight first. I need to put together standard operating procedures, which is SOPs. So when I do bring somebody in, I hope I have enough in my teeth. Okay. I had cherries for breakfast. I had cherries yesterday and Joe just said, you had something black in your teeth. It was a cherry. And I had cherries again. I'm thinking, hope I don't got nothing in my teeth. But anyway, if I do, y'all let me know. And I lost my train of thought. Anyway, let's get on with the show. So today is Tuesday, June 1st. It is June the 1st. Yes, it is. Let me tell you, time waits for no one, not a person. It's also National Barefoot Day, National Nail Polish Day, and National Say Something Nice Day. So listen, say something nice to somebody today. Hello, good morning. Sometimes all people need to do is say, you have a beautiful smile, and just keep it going. No, you ain't got to stop. You ain't got to come say, just say something nice. I do that all the time. If somebody smells good, I have absolutely no problem saying, boy, you sure smell nice. I don't care if it's a man or a woman. If they smell good, I'm going to tell them you smell nice. Just say something nice to somebody. Today is National Say Something Nice Day. It's also National Hazelnut Cake Day. So I don't know what a hazelnut cake tastes like. I don't know about you, but I don't know what a hazelnut cake tastes like. Anyway, let's go ahead and get on with our horoscopes brought to you by noted astrologer Michael Thorson for today, June the 1st. Listen, time waits for no one. Time waits for no one. We're going to kick it off like we always do, and that is with Aries. Limitation could set in if you've been spending too much. You can open up your mate and let them know. Open up to your mate and let them know what you expect out of this relationship. Okay, now work hard on improving your living quarters. Listen, Aries, you got to open up. Sometimes you can be too closed off. People can't read your mind, so you need to open up. Let your mate know what you expect out of the relationship. That way they know. If you think it, they're not going to know it unless you're telepathic. Now, if you're telepathic, go with it. But then they need to be telepathic to receive it. So in the meantime, just tell them what it is you expect. Taurus, based on your excitement, serious-minded individuals will be more than interested in backing your ideas. Problems with large corporations or institutions are apparent. Get back down to earth and to the basics. Now, here's the thing, Taurus. You may have some people that's ready to back your ideas, but you need to make sure your stuff is tight because you don't want to go in that half step. And I remember the first time I had to write a business plan, right? I wrote the business plan. It was for my doll company. So for those of you who don't know, Georgette and I invented the first plus size fashion doll. I wrote the business plan. I went to SCORE because I had a SCORE advisor. I had one that was coaching me on the business side, and I had one that was working on the financials for the business plan. And I went to SCORE and I took my business plan. And when I got to SCORE, the accountant, the one that was working on the accounting side, he read the business plan. He said, "Who did this plan?" And I said, "I did." He said, "This is a great plan." He said, "I really want to invest in your company, but it's against the rules and regulations." So he picked up the phone and called his daughter. And he said to his daughter, "There's a company that I really want to invest in, but I can't do it legally because it's against the regulations. Can I give you some money to invest?" And his daughter was like, "No, Dad, you can't do it because it's against the regulations." I did that based on my business plan. So what I'm saying, Taurus, is when you go before these people that could possibly back you, make sure everything is in order because you never know who's in the room that'll say, "You know what, I want to help you, but your stuff got to be tight." So just make sure of that. Gemini, set a limit or you will wind up on a tight budget. Use some diplomacy to get your point across delicately. Delicately being the key word there. Do something that will be stimulating and creative. Yes, I got to put together this course. I'm excited about that. So you do something that's going to be stimulating too and creative. I love the creative side. Let me tell y'all what's funny, right? So at nighttime, this is what I do at nighttime. I used to listen to I used to watch MSNBC every night before I went to bed. 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, I went to sleep. But politics became so overwhelming for me, I had to cut it off. I said, I can't watch it. It's just too much craziness going on in the world right now with politics. I can't watch it. So I stopped watching that. So then I started watching YouTube every night, and I was watching business segments. No, I started watching Tom Bilyeu. Like I would watch him. He did a lot of mindset. He did a lot of success stories. He did a lot of people talking about how they got to where they were, which I love that. And I think I watched pretty much all his episodes, so I ran out of episodes. Then I started watching Ed Mylett, who was kind of like on the same path as Tom, success stories and mindset and all that. And I think I ran out of stuff to watch for him. Then I started watching my boy David Shands and all his people, right? Now listen, David Shands is the host of Social Proof Podcast. Started watching Social Proof Podcast and realized I love it too much. It has too much great information. I can't go to sleep because now I'm taking notes and my mind is going. I was like, I definitely cannot watch David at night before I go to bed because I will not go to sleep because I'm wired up, because I'm so pumped up by the time I get finished watching one of his shows. I was like, I can't. So I can't watch him. So I watch him in the daytime at lunchtime when I go to lunch. So when I get finished the show, normally I make me some lunch and I watch David. I watch an episode of David's show. That's my schedule. So what happens at night is I still need to wind down. So what I decided to do to wind down, I started watching the Dollar Tree. There's people on YouTube, because I don't know if you ever go to Dollar Tree. Dollar Tree just got a lot of stuff. You go in there, you spend like $100. Like, oh my God. So, and I go there and I get things like the little boxes. I don't know if you can see it, but that little box sitting on my desk over there is the little cold one, the little cute one. I go and get stuff like that. I got a couple over there. I got like signs and things like that. And I go get stuff to like store stuff. Like I'm a big store. I go get little journals and little notebooks. I'm a paper junkie. I'm never gonna stop using paper. I know everything's supposed to be digital. I like paper. I go buy a bunch of journals and notebooks and things like that. So now at night before I go to bed, I cut YouTube on. And I'm watching creative ideas that people do with stuff from the Dollar Tree. So I'm sitting there for about 15 minutes watching that. That helps me to wind down because people are really creative, really, really creative. That helps me to wind down. And then after I'm wind down, then I listen to my meditation at 528 megahertz or higher. And then I go to sleep. And I shared that with you just to say, listen, you got to be creative. I'm trying to be creative. And sometimes you have to know when to cut things off, when to invite things in. You need to know all that stuff, okay? I just wanted to share that quick story. Cancer, you may find that your plans will cost a little more than you had expected. Do things that involve children. Anger may cause you grief. Control your temper and try to sit back and calm down. Cancer, sit back and calm down. Just sit back, relax, woosah. Take a minute, meditate. Matter of fact, take 2 minutes. Just relax today. Listen. The retrograde is in here and it's going to start wreaking some havoc. You know that I'm telling you that. So when things come up with technology, when things come up with communication problems, just relax, take a minute, gain control again. Don't blow your top. Don't do it. Leo, business conducted in your office will proceed smoothly. Digestive disorders will be a result of family squabbles. Oh man, get promises in writing or you will be disappointed. Yeah, get it in writing. People can't dispute black and white. Let me just say that. When it's black and white, people cannot dispute it. No matter what they say, they can't dispute black and white. So get it in black and white. Virgo, be tactful if you see flaws in someone else's work. Your high energy and discipline will enable you to complete any seemingly insurmountable task. You need to look into some private matters before you can proceed with your plans. Yes, be tactful. If you see flaws in somebody else's work, just be tactful. Don't try to go at them and make them feel bad. Don't do that. That's not a good thing. Be tactful. Say something nice. Hey, you know what? Something. I'm not trying to. Just take a look at this. Be nice about it. Because some people can be really bad. Some people can suck. They really can. All right, I'm going to a song. I'll be right back after this song to give you more of the horoscopes brought to you by Noted Astrologer Michael Thorson. So stay tuned.
Time goes by and yet I wonder, are you and me still the same? Are you still loving the game? I know I don't. You cast your spell and I went under. I know the laughter and the pain. Will I ever love again? I don't know if I can take it anymore. So I stay here and hold my heart when you walk out the door. Made a promise to myself and I repeat it in my head. Set your mind free, set your mind free. No one knows what I've been through, but this is the end of me and you. Set your mind free. Made a promise to myself, this time I'll keep it. Where there's a will, yeah, there's a way. With every smile, with every tear, I know I can make it. I'm gonna see you brighter day. Oh, 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 brighter day, brighter day. Brighter day. Time goes by and yet I wonder, why do we put each other through hell? Or do we just get over ourselves? I know for sure you cast your spell and now we're under. I know the laughter and the pain. Will I ever love again? I don't know if I can take it anymore. Yeah, so I stay here and hold my heart when you walk out the door. Yeah, made a promise to myself and I repeat it in my head. Set your mind free, set your mind free. No one knows what I've been through, but this is the end of me and you. Set your mind free. Oh, hey, yeah. Oh. Made a promise and I still is down on me. But there's a will, yeah. There's a way. With every smile, with every tear, I know I can make it. I'm gonna see you bright day. Looking
Welcome back, welcome back. It's your girl Audrey Bell Kearney giving you daily horoscopes brought to you by Noda Astrologer Micah Thorson. Listen, I'm eating cherries. I'm sorry. I'm hungry. And I went to the farmer's market and I picked up cherries. Cherries are expensive. They were 99 cents a pound. So we bought like two big bags. And so that's my breakfast. A cherry and a nectarine. Here's the thing. We started a weight loss challenge. My husband and two of my friends, we started a weight loss challenge. And I got on the scale this morning and I was the same weight. Which I'm not surprised because I did eat a lot of outings. Like we went out to dinner for my mom's birthday on Friday. My mom, of course, is not here, so we celebrate on her behalf. She passed away on January 5th. But we went out to dinner with the family and I ate bread. Then I went out to dinner again on Saturday. Then I kind of lounged around all day Sunday. And then yesterday my husband cooked out. So of course, I didn't expect to lose anything this week. So now it is what it is. I'll be back. So today, I'm back in the game. All right. Libra, you have worked hard and the payback is now. You will find good buys and they will lift your spirits. Partners may try to argue with you. However, you must stand your ground. You worked hard, Libra. The payback is now, baby. The payback is now. Scorpio, group endeavors will provide you with entertainment. It might be time to do some of those chores at home. You may feel that someone at work is holding you back. Listen, don't let anybody hold you back. If you feel like somebody's holding you back, handle it right now. You don't need anybody standing in your way, Scorpio. Sagittarius, nagging has never been something that you could tolerate, and it's once again driving you into a lonely state of affairs. Don't let your emotions interfere with money-making deals. Take action. I know I'm not a nagger, and I don't like nagging people. Like I'm like you, Sagittarius. When it comes to nagging, I can't deal. If you got to be a nag, get away from me. And I don't mind telling you, listen, you going with that because I'm not a nagger. Like I'm a free spirit. And I don't like when things bother me. I need to handle it right now. I can't let it sit and fester and because to me, that's stupid. Handle that situation like right now. And don't be nagging. Capricorn, someone you live with could be frustrated and upset. You can make financial gains if you are prepared to take a risk. Take care that arrangements to spend quality time together are made in advance. Yes. You can make financial gains if you're prepared to take a risk. Here's the thing, Capricorn, you got to be prepared to take that risk. You need to have all your paperwork in order. You need to have whatever it is you're trying to sell in order. And you need to be a person of integrity. Say what you mean and mean what you say. Do what you say. I can't stress that part enough. When people say they're going to do something, and let me tell you about me. When you say you're going to do something, you don't do it. I ain't going to say nothing to you. I'm just going to say myself, that person is a liar. They ain't going to do nothing. That's just me. And that may be the wrong thing to do. Because here's the thing. If you come to me with a reason that makes sense, right? And trust me, people are always watching you. I remember one time this woman told me she was watching me. It freaked me out. But people are always watching you. Your mouth can say one thing. Your actions say something else. People don't care about what your mouth say. They look at your actions. So if your actions is not matching up to what you're saying, I'm not going to believe you. I'm going to listen to what you said, but I'm going to watch what you do. And what you do don't match with what you said. I'm like, yeah, that person can't be trusted. Have your stuff in order and make sure that you are a person of integrity. Keep your word. Your word is all you got at the end of the day. If you don't keep your word and people know you don't keep your word, they're not going to recommend you. They're not going to include you. They're not going to believe you. They're going to look at you and be like, yeah, you're a liar. You don't do nothing you say you're going to do. You just talk. You don't want that because that's your reputation on the line. All right. Aquarius, do not hesitate to help elders with legal documents that are too confusing for them. If you can work at home, do so. You should be putting your cash into long-term investments like real estate. Yes, Aquarius. But listen here, make sure you understand real estate. And if you don't understand real estate, find a professional that understands real estate. I was reading something yesterday. It was long. It was a whole lot of legal jargon. And I'm like, and it was about real estate. I'm like, okay, seriously, I'm gonna have to get this over to my friend. My friend Latanya, she's an attorney. She told me, listen, send the documents to me when you get them. And I said, okay, but I'm gonna read it myself. Like I'm gonna read it myself, because I understand. Man, I started reading that thing last night. So I was reading it out loud. My husband's like, oh my God, that would just make my head hurt. And I was like, I know, I'm just gonna have to give it to Tanya to read. I understood a lot of it, but when it came to the real estate portion of it, I had no clue. And it was just like, it was so much. And it was like, I was like, yeah, I'm not going to even front like I know what they're talking about. I'm just going to send a document to Latanya. She'll tell me what it means. Last but not least, my fellow fish Pisces, loved ones may be annoyed if they feel restricted. You can help them more than you can help, then they can help you. Problems with in-laws or relatives may be more damaging than you realize. All right, fish, we got to handle these problems with the in-laws and the relatives. And here's the thing, it may be more damaging than you realize. If you don't talk about it, nobody knows. So if you know there's a problem going on in your household right now, fish, put it in, stop it right now. Put a stop to it right now. Ask the people like, what's up? We need to fix this right now. It doesn't need to go any further. Fix it right now. You know what I'm saying? All right, so that's all the horoscopes I got for today. I'll be back again tomorrow at 10 a.m. God willing to bring you more of the horoscopes. Now let's get on to some news you can use before I bring up Chris and we talk tech, because it's Talk Tech Tuesday, and we're going to talk about how to make your local business grow using SEO. Oh, I made a rhyme. How to make your local business grow using SEO. I know I suck, right? That's all right. Chris is good. So I may suck at rapping, but he's good at SEO. And I may not be good at SEO, and I'm okay with that. But I'm good at podcasting. Yeah, I know. I'm good at podcasting. I like podcasting. We a few months back, there was a huge criminal act committed against our Asian American here in our community, and people have been hurting about that. Just like when things happen in the African American community, there's an uproar about that because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to be senselessly killing people for no reason because of their race, religion, sexual orientation, whatever. It doesn't make sense. It's terrible. And so, a lot of love has gone out to the Asian American community here in Gwinnett County. So this past last week, Gwinnett Commissioner joins. They call for Asian American Pacific Islanders be included in school curriculums, which I thought that was pretty cool to have Asian American history including our curriculum. Now, here's the thing, though. There was I think it was year before last, I was on my way to a football game, and someone was telling me this, like, look at this, and I forgot what I was looking at. It was something either on Twitter or LinkedIn or something, but they were saying how they were taking the African American history out the history books as if it never happened. And I was like, and I think it started in Texas. Go figure, Texas, right? They were taking a lot of the African American history out of the history books because they didn't want people to know it. And I think that's crazy. And I was like, why would they do that? Because it's a part of our history. And so we have a horrible history. You know what I mean? Like, we were slaves for 400 years, and a lot of us are still slaves. I hate to say it, but we are. And it's not because some of the reasons you may think, but I'm not going to get into that. That's a whole different subject. Anyway, they took a lot of our history out of the history books to suppress that, I guess, because they didn't want people to know the history because it's so horrible, which I think they should put it back in. Now they're saying here in Gwinnett County, they want to add the Asian American history into the curriculum so people can understand about the Asian American population. And I think that's a good thing. I think if we just stop for 1 second and said, you know what, if you take a minute to learn about people, you'll learn about their culture. You'll learn about their history. We all bleed blood, right? We all have 2 eyes, 2 nose. We got 2 eyes, 2 ears. We all have hands. We're all the same. We're just different colors. We're different heights. We have different hair textures. We have different religious background. And I think if people just say, you know what? It is what it is. Let's just live together. That is the hardest thing for people to do. And you would think that it wouldn't be so hard. And so, County Commissioner Kirkland Cardine has joined the voices calling for students to be taught more about the history and the culture of Asian American Pacific Islander community. which I think is a good thing. Cardin issued a proclamation calling for the inclusion during the county commission's May 25th public hearing. So he entered a proclamation for that. He says learn about them. But listen, we need to do that for everybody. Like there's a whole bunch of people, like Mexican people, right? We've heard the most horrific things about Mexican people over the past few years, things that I had never heard before. And so you listen to the news, you listen to the media, and you kind of draw a conclusion based on that without knowing the people. Same thing with African American people. We have a rich history. Our history is rich because it spans across the globe. Africa is a continent, right? Other places are countries. Africa is a whole continent by itself with a whole bunch of different tribes, with a whole bunch of different cities, and they all are different. That's why they have war on the continent, because they're all different. Take the time to learn and stop being so judgmental. And because we're all the same, we all want love, peace, and happiness for our families. We all want to protect our children. We have them grow up in great places and go to school and learn and have a great life. We all want the same thing. Why is that such a problem? Right? Why is it such a problem when people want to create problems based around it? It's all the same. And I think when we start, if we just could stop for a second and understand that we all want the same thing, and we could all live in America and do well if we just stop focusing on the crap, right? Stop focusing on all the negativity. Take the time. If you want to make more money, get a better job. You want to get a better job, learn something. I'm not even saying go to college. Learn something. Don't worry about, oh, this person is taking my job and this person is taking up the community. Don't worry about that. You live in your house, they live in their house. You go to your job, they go to their job. That's it. And if we just kind of embrace that, we'll be a lot better off. But instead, we want to fight, we want to kill, we want to shoot, which is crazy to me. But anyway, there's a lot going on right now to show that that community that we do care about them, and I get it. I know they probably feel left out and alone because of a lot of stuff that's going on, but you're not left out and alone. And speaking of that, our commissioner, Nicole Love Henderson, also issued a proclamation to the community as well at the Asian Pacific and Islander Heritage Month, which was observed last month. The proclamation was presented to the leaders of AAPI community before an Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Monthly reception, which was held at GJAC last month. So, it's been a difficult year for all of us. It's been a difficult 2 years. It's been a difficult 4 years. Let me just say that a lot has been going on. It's been a lot. So, just to let you guys know, we do care about you here, just like, we care about everybody else. So I thought that was pretty cool that they did that. And I thought it was pretty cool that, they decided to want to include the history of the Asian American community inside the curriculum so the kids can learn more about it. Because when you know more and when you know better, you do better. That's my saying. When you know better, you do better. So I think that's pretty cool. So I'm going to go to one more song. Then we're going to bring Chris up and we're going to talk about SEO because we need to know about SEO to grow our local business. So stay tuned for that. I'll be right back after this song.
Makeup stained sheets and tear-soaked cheeks, desperate for the dawn to bring back dignity. Time and time again I relapse, but love has never left me. Perhaps I should have found a way to pay it back. But if I can't only take it like a swallow the pain, drown the pain until it wash away. From the night to the day, you treat me right, you forget my mistake. It becomes a habit to break. All the pain to the guilt turns to shame. From the night to the day, you treat me right. Who needs a heart that tears apart? Ruminating cycles back time and time again. I relapse, but your love is always waiting. Perhaps I can't see myself, so I fade to black. Only taking up the spot of the pain. Down the pain until it all wash away. From the night to the day, you treat me right. Forgive my mistakes. It becomes another habit to break. I'll replay it till the guilt turns to shame. From the night to the day, you treat me right. Only take enough to swallow the pain. I'm the pain until it all wash away. From the night to the day, forget my mistake. It becomes another habit to break. I'll replay it till the guilt turns to shame. From the night to the day.
All right, welcome back. So we're about to get on with our SEO for the day because it's that time of the day. We're going to bring Chris up. He's going to talk to us about how to grow your local business. So without further ado, let me add Chris to the stream. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing today, Audrey?
I am good, Chris. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. Just trying to get back in the groove of things after this long Memorial Day weekend. Excited to start a new month. I can't believe it's June already. It's been a good year though so far, and looking forward to keeping the trend going.
I know that's the truth. It was so crazy because I text Chris about it was like 11:30 last night. I was in the bed and I'm laying there. I'm like, holy crap, tomorrow is June the 1st and it's Tuesday. Because I was totally thrown off by the holiday. I'm like, okay, I'm laying in the bed and my husband's like, what's wrong? And he was like, who's Chris? I was like, Chris, the one that does SEO. Because I'm probably thinking, why are you laying in the bed at 11:30 thinking about Chris? It was hilarious.
That's not good.
I'm all in business more like, oh my God, I forgot to call Chris. So I had a good holiday too. It's so weird though, Chris, because normally my mom is like the big holiday person. Like we all love Christmas. That's our major. Right. Thanksgiving and Christmas are major, but she celebrates all of them. And so she wasn't here. This is our first Memorial Day without her. Her birthday was last Thursday. And so we did a dinner on Friday with the family. We went to Longhorn, just got together. It's a bunch of us at Longhorn. They're probably thinking, where did all these people come from? And then we had a little cookout yesterday. And so we were like so wrapped up in like just hanging out and talking till I lost track of all the days. I'm like, I thought it was Sunday. It was Monday and it was crazy. But anyway, I was like, let me text Chris real quick and let him know, hey, tomorrow's Tuesday. Because normally Chris hit me like, hey, where's the link? And I was like, Kristen hit me. I need to hit him back. But anyway, thanks again for being here today on Talk Tech Tuesday.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. Yeah, yesterday definitely felt like a Sunday. It was fun. A lot of grilling out. We went and checked out the parade in downtown Decula, and it just had that Sunday feel to it there all day long. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, it did. So last week, I think we left off with voice marketing. Did we leave off with voice marketing last week? Voice SEO?
Today's topic, we were going to talk about audio SEO, like how to optimize podcasts and audio content for search. Last week, we discussed video content and how we can optimize that. And I think the next logical step is to talk about audio, especially for you, putting out a podcast daily. Like, how do we get these things seen by new users, right?
Yeah.
So, or not seen, I guess, but heard. How do we get our subscribers up and show up in more Google searches? So I think it's a highly relevant topic for today, especially for you. And good morning, Gwinnett. Excuse me.
Yeah, there's so many podcasts right now. I was talking to someone last week, and I was telling him, I said, when I did I had to speak at She Podcast in September of 2019. When I spoke at that, because I always like before I speak at a conference, and I've been speaking at a lot of them on podcasts. When I spoke at that conference, I looked at the stats. It was 775,000 podcasts, and like 125,000 of those were actually active, which means that they were producing an episode a week. Which I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. I spoke at the Podfest conference last year. When I spoke at Podfest last year in March, there were 1.2 million podcasts. So you had like a 500,000 podcast jump from September of 19 to March of 20, right? Fast forward to today, it's about 2.1 million podcasts.
Yeah.
So the industry is like crazy booming. Like it is really it's growing so quickly. And I think for a lot of people, they kind of looked at it as just an entertainment platform. And it is, for some people, it's entertainment. But for a business, it's like, how do I expand my brand? And for me, podcasting is always a great way. Now, here we are, Chris, doing video podcasting. So I'm doing not just regular podcasting anymore. I'm doing video as well. And I'm about to launch a new podcast. So I think this is perfect time. Now I got to go back and retitle this segment because I think I put blogging. I couldn't even remember. Not only that, everything just shut down. Like I set everything up and then it just shut down. Like, oh my God, it was shut down at 9:57. It shut down at 9:57, Chris. I was panicking over here. I'm like, oh my God. And I had to restart everything. It was crazy. But we're in a Mercury retrograde right now. So expect technical problems. So that's what it was. But anyway, I have to go back and retitle this part of the show to talk about voice SEO. So let's jump into that. So people, we do our podcast. Some of us put in show notes. Some of us don't. Like I don't really put show notes per se about the podcast itself. I may put in just a snippet of what the episode is about. How important is that for you to add show notes and links into your podcast? And where should you put it? Because right now, this podcast is syndicated on SoundCloud and Spotify and Apple and Google. If I put a link to Good Morning Gwinnett in there, would that point back to my website if I put my website link in there?
Absolutely. And that should be a key part of your backlink strategy. That's how we're going to get people to come back to your website to be able to review or listen to, archives, things that we have talked about previously, as well as get a better understanding about all the different types of content that you have. Maybe see some content that's not available in a podcast. If you've done like a review or an article about a local business that hasn't made it into a podcast yet, definitely include links in your descriptions to be able to try to encourage users to come back through to your website. Backlinking is still very much alive, is still very much a huge part of SEO, and it's easy for you to do because really you just insert your links in the description to the different pages that you want people to go to. I would recommend that whatever links that we put in our descriptions are relevant to the specific podcast episode that you're writing your description for. So if you're talking about tips for startups, make sure that your links in your description point back to a page that also includes tips for startups, or additional content around the idea of startups that people can go and read on your website. The idea there is relevancy. We want to make sure that all the information that we're including in both the description and the links that to the pages that we're linking to are kind of themed around one particular topic. Okay. It kind of dilutes our SEO efforts if we have put together a really great podcast that talks about startup tips, but then link to recipes for this and a review for 3 different restaurants and all that kind of stuff. So we got to make sure that we have a really good, tight-knit theme for all the content for our titles for each episode, as well as our descriptions for each episode. And it's great to hear that you're syndicating all of your content across all the streaming platforms. Because that's actually really the number one tip that recommendation that's out right now for how to get more users, or how to get your podcast and your audio content in front of more users. The easiest solution is just make sure you're everywhere. So anytime you publish a podcast, put it up on Spotify, put it up on Apple, put it up on anywhere people can download and listen to audio content.
I got a quick question, because I put I learned this from a YouTube strategy like years ago, to always put your domain name inside of your description at the very first. So if you look at all of my episodes, it always has www.goodmorninggwinnett. My question to you is that a good link, just the www, or should I put the HTTPS in there as well? Because I have not done that.
So that's whether you include the HTTP protocol in the beginning of your link is not really going to have a whole lot of impact. Not nearly as much as if you were to say have the title of your show and use that text as the link, or some other type of like keyword rich text to use as your link. If all you're doing is just putting in www.goodmorninggwinnett.com, that's fine. If you want to get a little bit more targeted and try to drive additional traffic for particular search terms, say you're linking to let's get back to the idea of linking back to content for startups. If you wanted to say include a piece of text that said 4 tips all startups should have in their checklist, or something along those lines, and then actually use that text as your link. There's a little bit of HTML that has to be done to make that happen. It's not terribly difficult though. You can actually use that link, and the link then 4 tips for startups becomes your what's called the anchor text, and it has a higher weight in terms of SEO for showing up in searches that people might be doing for tips for startups.
That's that makes sense. I think as I'm sitting here talking, I realized there are a couple of things I realized. Like, I know when we first started doing this segment, it was going to be a segment by itself. And as I sit here and think about it, I think next month is going to be a segment by itself, because when I think about the SEO value, it's kind of mixed in there with the show. And I would have to actually go in and edit out this section of the show to make it and to put it on the blog post by itself on the website. And so, I don't want to do all the extra work. So I'm like, listen, we just going to, next month is just going to be Talk Tech Tuesday, Horoscope Talk Tech Tuesday. And then we're just going to get with it, because now I'm thinking how that affects my SEO, because one part of the show has stuff about what's going on in Gwinnett County. And then we try to bring in the Talk Tech Tuesday piece, and it kind of does not match. And so even though I'm sending all of the traffic straight to the homepage, and I do that because I have the podcast player on the homepage so they can listen to all the episodes, it does not, I don't feel like it's really helping me as well as it could when it comes to my SEO. Am I correct in assuming that?
Absolutely, because there's really 2 things that kind of come into play with what you're talking about. The first thing that I think we definitely need to talk about is transcriptions for audio. And one of the big questions that I get asked a lot when it comes to audio or optimizing audio for SEO is, can Google transcribe my audio content? The answer is yes. Ever since about 2017 or 18, Google has offered the ability to be able to transcribe audio content. They do this as a service to the podcaster, but they also do it for selfish reasons internally, in that they want to be able to have a good, clear understanding of what the audio content is about, because Google search engines don't have ears, right? So they still have to use text to understand what content is about. Audio content follows those same rules. So Google can translate and does translate the content for your podcast when you post it. However, it's not perfect. They can make mistakes. And so it's good to make sure that if you use their service to do a transcription of your audio content, to make sure proof it, make sure that it's accurate, and any changes as necessary. Upload the correct transcript in your description so that Google can check it against what they think you're talking about, and and make any adjustments in their algorithm as needed. And then, so transcribing your content, including that in your audio, when you publish your audio content, definitely should be a huge part of what we're doing to optimize our audio. And the second part of that you kind of hit on just now is making sure that we have a good tight-knit theme for each of the audio episodes or audio content pieces that we're publishing. If we're publishing an audio piece or a podcast that kind of touches on a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of something else, we run the risk of again kind of diluting our SEO efforts to be found for one specific thing. So going back to our topic of tips for startups, if our audio content has this and that and 12 different other things included in with it, it may be difficult for Google and other search engines to really understand that the meat of what we're wanting to get out to our listeners is tips on startups. So there's two things that we can do there. We can either trim out the content and post each piece of the podcast as a separate episode, or we can make sure that we optimize all of the supplemental information that we're publishing with our podcast, like our descriptions and our in our titles, to make sure that we're really kind of telling Google and other search engines that, like, hey, this is what the content is about. And then the other big thing that we really should be thinking about with audio content is including jump links throughout the content, similar to like what we do with video content.
Okay, what's a jump link, Chris? Because I've never heard that term before. What is a jump link?
So in searches now, whenever we do a search for, tips for startups, and a video or an audio content piece is included in the search results, we can include links to different timestamps throughout that piece of content to help the user get directly to the content that's relevant to what they're searching for. The name in SEO is really relevancy. So we want to make sure our content is super relevant and easy to get to for the user for a specific search that we want to show up for. Jump links is a big way to do that, and we can include those in the description. We can, we can say, hey, at timestamp 1 minute and 4 seconds, in this piece, we are talking about tips for startups. And then at minute, marker 5 and in 24 seconds, we're talking about, whatever that piece of content is. Okay. And that way we stand a better chance of, even though our content might be spread across, 4 different major topics. So like in the case of Good Morning Gwinnett, maybe like horoscopes, news, and then on first Tuesday of the month, tech talk, talking about SEO, we can actually in our description include those jump links to the content to say, at minute marker this, we're talking about such and such. At minute marker this, we're talking about such and such. And at minute marker this, we're talking about SEO tips. And so now, as a user, when I search up SEO tips, the Good Morning Gwinnett podcast has a higher chance of showing up in the search results, taking the user directly to that timestamp where they can learn specifically about SEO tips. They don't have to actually go through all the content.
That makes so much sense. So let me ask you this, because now I'm thinking, because I realize I've made some errors in setting this whole thing up. So with past episodes that I've done with you, let's say with you, right? Even with me, because I do Talk Business Tuesday, like right. I do the regular news and I talk business. So if I want to go back right now and make those episodes, add jump links to those episodes, is there something I have to go in and type in, or do I just have to kind of go through? Is there a tool to use that, or do I have to go through and figure out how to put in the timestamps?
That's a really good question. There should be a way, and I apologize, I have to do a little bit of research on that, how we can go and retroactively apply all of these jump links and get it published to all the appropriate streaming platforms and also to Google. My initial thought is we should be able to do that simply in our descriptions that are uploaded to all of our streaming services. And then so long as we push all those changes to the streaming service and to Google, eventually we should show up, those changes should show up in search results to help us with our visibility. That's a really good question, though. I've never tried to do it retroactively. So maybe that's something we could circle back around and talk about next month.
Yeah, because I feel like I know I have a lot of content. Like I have a lot, y'all. Chris told me like you got a lot of content, and I really do. And I'm just constantly adding. Now I got video, and so I'm constantly adding content. But that's because I understand I need content. I just have to. I haven't had the time to break it all up because it's so much. And I realized I probably just need to hire somebody, and they just need to just go in there and break it all up some kind of way because it's just so much. And so, as much as I want to educate you guys and bring on great people, I'm still learning myself, because I've never heard of a jump link. Now, what I can say is I use a transcription service. I think it was Headliner because I use Headliner sometimes. When I used Headliner, it transcribed, and I think it had like the timestamps on each part of the segments. I think I saw it, and if it wasn't Headliner, it might have been Descript because I used two. I used two for two separate things. I love Descript for the fact that you can go in there. If I say the wrong word, I can just actually go in there and erase the word in text, and it just copies my voice. I think that's amazing. Like I don't know who came up with that technology. It's scary too, though, but it's amazing. So I use it for that. When I want to do something really quick, down and dirty, I go to Headliner because it's really quick. Like Descript is a little bit more technical. Headliner I love, and so I love that platform. So that's pretty cool. Now let me ask you this, because when I think about voice and where we're going with the whole voice marketing and recognizing words and things like that, how close are we right now for Google to say, you know what, I'm listening to the podcast. I'm not even worried about the notes that's transcribed, but Google AI is listening to what we're saying and putting us in the search engines that way. Are we there yet, or are we getting there?
So that's a really, really interesting and topical question. And the answer is we are fast approaching that point to where Google can listen and then accurately make recommendations. And in fact, voice search is already a thing, and it's something that you probably do all the time on your smartphone without even thinking about it. Anytime you ask Siri a question or Alexa a question, they are listening, right? And Google has their own version of that through their assistant. And smartphones are really driving the lead for this type of audio search, and we can now ask questions in a very conversational text to get information about very specific things. And again, that technology has been around for a few years. It's still very much in its infancy, but it's something that we absolutely have to keep in our sights. Because one thing that a couple of interesting stats, we've had that technology for about 3 years now, and it continues to improve. At first, it was kind of clunky, but it's getting better and better. As marketers, what we're finding is people who do voice search, like through their smartphone or through some type of home listening device, those searches tend to be longer than what a user would search in if they were searching from their desktop computer on google.com. And those searches are a lot more conversational, which means as marketers, we can now get more conversational in the content that we're including in like our descriptions and things like that. So now we can really start promoting our content as if we were talking to people instead of machines. Right. And another really interesting thing, like I said, mobile is really leading that voice search, and it's really only picked up in about the last 6 months. It's very, very, very new, and I say extremely infantile. Most marketers say they have only started paying attention to voice search for how they're optimizing their content in the last 6 months. Around 42% of all efforts for SEO are now including some type of voice optimization in there. And that's really where the jump links come in, because now we can say, hey, at timestamp this, we're talking about this. And that helps Google understand that, like, when somebody does a voice search, they can relate it to that bit of content that we want to get people to.
So a lot of people don't know this. If somebody asks me, what do people not know about you? A lot of people don't know that I have an insurance license. Like, I'm a licensed insurance agent, because I hardly ever talk about that. Like, I write policies for family and friends and things like that, because they know I have one. So I rarely talk about that, because I'm always talking podcasting. But over the last year, with so much stuff happening and so many people losing investments and losing lives, just losing a lot. We just lost a lot. One of the things my mom taught me, Chris, was always to have insurance, right? She had insurance for everything. And going through her estate right now, there are some things that I don't think she knew that now has showed up for my brother and I in her estate. And so we're trying to work through things that we think she didn't know. And so we went to go ask about certain things, like, okay, that's crazy. She would never have agreed to that, but it's too late. Nothing we can do about it, but it's a learning lesson. And I was talking to one of my friends who's a licensed insurance agent, and she's securities licensed as well. Mm-hmm. And I was talking to her about this, and she was like, and I was talking to her about, I was going to do a podcast called Wise Women Invest. This was like about 3 years ago and I was like, but I just stopped. So now I'm going to launch that podcast. Right. And I'm thinking about, so it's not just me, it's her, it's a bunch of other people in different industries, called Wise Women Invest. And so there's women in real estate and women in cannabis and women in insurance and stocks and cryptocurrency. There's a bunch of us, and they're just amazing women, which is cool. But as I sit here and think about this, I'm wondering, because one of my strategies for Wise Women Invest was short form content, like maybe like 3 minutes, a minute tip, to long form where we're doing talks like this. Does it make a difference how long the content is when it comes to SEO? Because for me, I know a minute is kind of long. Like a minute is like about 100 words, I think, or something crazy. It was like some number I did. I'm like, really? So does it matter how long the content is when it comes to SEO and voice search?
No, not as much as you probably think it would be, because as users, we've known for a long time, people don't really read anymore. Mm-hmm. And now with everybody just constantly scrolling through their phones, through Reddit or Facebook or whatever, our attention spans have shortened even further. And I would argue that it's, the length of the content is not going to play nearly as big of a role as the quality of the content and how it relates to what users are searching for. Mm-hmm. So in fact, if you posted more short form content and did it well, then you have so many more pages and so many more pieces of content for Google and other search engines to index and then find searches that are related to that short form piece of content. Now that brings a couple other things into the equation that we should probably talk about for audio optimization.
Okay.
If we have these, this short form content, again, SEO is all about relevancy. How relevant are we to what a user is searching for? Mm. So we've optimized our title for both for the podcast or the short form audio content that we are publishing. We published it on all of our streaming services. We've created an optimized description with jump links, for that content. Another thing that we need to consider is creating a separate landing page for each piece of content. Mm-hmm. That does a couple of things for us. It allows us to be able to do better backlinking, posting those backlinks for if we're doing short form content, again, on startup strategies, then now we've got a very, very, very concise page that we can create talking just about startup strategies. And then when we link out onto other websites and include startup strategies as our anchor text for our link, it's all now highly, highly relevant. And because you're doing short form content, maybe you do a series of a 3-minute clip, every week. So now you've got 52 new pieces of content that are just about startup strategies, 52 new pages on your website that are just about startup strategies, 52 new pieces of audio content that are both on your website as well as all of your other streaming services that you publish to, all about startup strategies. So now you're starting to create a very, very, very like tightly knit themed section of your website, and with backlinks all across the web that are all just highly, highly concentrated on tips specifically for startups.
So let me make sure I hear I'm understanding what you're saying. So right now with Wise Women Invest, it's going to be about investing, helping women learn how to invest. So when I do the segments with the real estate person, that needs to be a separate blog on that site just for real estate. So everything about real estate goes there. Everything about insurance go on my segment. Everything about stocks and bonds and mutual funds go in this segment. So when they go there, they're going to get a whole gamut of people talking about investments. But now they can say, you know what, I just want to know about real estate, or I just need to know about stocks, or I just need to know about, how to set up a cannabis thing, whatever. Because that's what I'm hearing. So I just want to make sure.
You're absolutely right. And the more that if we want to call it smarter, that Google and other search engines start to get, what that really means is they are becoming more human-like in the way they interpret data and the way they understand pieces of content. So what that allows us to do as marketers is organize information in a way that not only appeals to search engines, but also makes sense to the user. So if a user, again, exactly what you just said, if they want to learn all about real estate, then we need to carve out, a section of the website that talks all just about real estate and has content that is everything real estate related. So that as the user, I can go there and I can just like click through all the archives or all the real estate related content, whether it's a short form piece or a full, hour-long episode. It's all about real estate and it's all right there. So it creates a good user experience, but then so long as it's structured properly, it also makes sense to search engines because they come to the website and as they're crawling things, they say, well, hey, here's a section, with 380 some odd pages and pieces of content that are all related to real estate. So this clearly is something very relevant to the real estate industry. And then one of the things that we haven't really talked about, but is highly, highly relevant for this, Google personalizes search results to individual users based on the information they have about their user. And that can be previous search history, previous websites that user has visited, things that are included in their social media profiles. And the Google and other search engines are going to start crafting unique search results pages for that user when they do a search for real estate based on some of that criteria. So all that to say, what you see when you do a search for a particular topic might be completely different than what I see when I do a search result using those same exact keywords. So the more like popularity and stickiness and things that we can do to our website to optimize, the content, then we're going to also stand a higher chance of showing up in search results for users who maybe share the same interests as we do or share the same interests as people who have visited our website in the past. So not exactly sure. I may have explained that the greatest way. But
no, that was good. I like that because what you said was, I heard you say that I may put in the same exact keywords that you put in to search for something, but because our profiles are different on social media, it's going to show me different results than it would show you based on our profile on social media, which is kind of cool, which brings me to another question though. Because when you said that, I'm like, okay, so as a business owner, should we be optimizing our social profile a certain way? Because you go there, it's got about me, and it's like, yeah, I'm an entrepreneur, been an author for this many years, blah blah blah, and all that stuff may not have anything to do with podcasting. It just may be talking. It may be podcasting, maybe in there like one word. I'm a podcaster, but if I'm trying to gather clients from my social media profile, should I have it set up a way so when they go to look at how to start a podcast, I pop up some kind of way? Should I be optimizing my social media profile? This is a topic for next month, but I'm gonna ask it anyway.
Yeah, that's a deep dark hole that we can get into for sure. Because one thing to keep in mind with social media marketing and advertising is it's a very multifaceted strategy. There are definitely things that we can do to optimize like our page's business listing profile, or whether it's on Facebook or LinkedIn or wherever, to try to get more organic traffic from search engines. Content is a completely different prong to the fork for social media optimization. And then there's a whole section that we can talk about on social media advertising, like actually paying for clicks and subscribers and things like that. Man, we could go on for months just about social media advertising.
So listen, hold that thought.
Yeah.
1 second. Let's put a pin in that, because that's probably where we're gonna go now. Okay. But I'm thinking now, you said it, because I feel like that's like right now we're talking about all the things we can do for free, because we got some entrepreneurs who are just starting up, who may not have a budget to advertise, who may not even understand the whole thing. And I don't want to confuse them right now. So right now we're talking about all the free things. We talked about local SEO, getting your Google My Business all in order. We talked about that, making sure you got junk links, which I just learned myself and never heard of that. Backlinks and things like that. I feel like, I don't know if we're ready to graduate to advertising just yet. I think we're going there though. I don't know. Do you think we covered everything that people could do right now on a local level that's free before we jump into it? Because I feel like that's going to be like I don't know, you tell me, like a 4 or 5 part series when it comes to advertising. Because I've run some ads on my own and for a client, which turned out okay, but it was a little stressful for me because I still didn't know all the inner workings. She was happy, she paid me a nice piece of money, but it scared the heck out of me. And I didn't even go try to do that again. I was like, I don't want to do that again. Even though she paid me really good money, Chris, it scared me that I may not have gotten her the return on her money that she wanted. Now, the crazy thing is that I did, but it still scared me. And I was like, oh, people are calling. And I'm thinking, yay. But it scared the daylights out of me. And I never did it again. Like I never took on another Facebook advertising client again. And so, because I felt like I still didn't know enough. Like she had a weight loss product that you attach to your ear and you squeeze it and it stops you from wanting to eat. Oh, and wow. So I was excited about that because I'm thinking I'm always talking about weight loss because I live in that space every day because I'm always trying to lose weight. And I ran an ad. So the first time I put the ad up, and we're going to talk about this later, y'all, because this is really a lot. But I'm just going to tell y'all what I did. I ran the ad. It showed a woman with a tape measure around her waist. So it showed her stomach a little bit. She had on like yoga pants. She had on like a yoga top. And then it showed her waist with a tape measure. They kicked the ad. Facebook was like, And I'm like, what's wrong with the ad? So I kept putting the ad up and they kept denying it. They're like, no. And I'm like, oh my God. So now I'm panicking, right? And come to find out, I couldn't show her skin. It was something crazy like that. I'm like, what? But these are the things that a lot of people don't know. So they spend money. They try to do their own ads. They don't know. So I know that that's something that's going to take us a little bit more time and a couple more episodes to talk about. In the meantime, have we touched on everything we need to know that's free? And let me tell y'all something. Don't do what I did. Because I didn't know what I was doing. I watched a video from Udemy and I learned how to do that much. Now, granted, my client was happy. I was messed up after that. I was like, I don't want to do that anymore because I just felt like I didn't know enough. But she came to me because she trusted me, and I'm glad I got her results. But what happens if I had not gotten her results? I couldn't even go back and figure out why I didn't get results. It took me like 2 days to figure out the woman's stomach was showing skin. I'm like, but all it's showing is like it's so like just the midsection, like right there with the tape measure. And they like, no, you're not. It's not going to pass. So Have we discussed things, enough stuff right now free, that when we come back next month, we can go into Facebook advertising for the people that's listening and watching?
So there's always going to be things to talk about in terms of, free marketing, whether, it's SEO or backlinks or building, social media profiles. And when I say free, I mean, there's still a cost associated with it, in terms of audio optimization. Our investment is our time, if we're doing it all ourselves. And, if it becomes a task this too daunting, or we are not getting the results we want, then you can always, hire somebody to come in and take on that work as an expert on your behalf. And you can pay anybody for anything just about these days.
Yes, you can.
Building social media profiles, building a backlink strategy, answering questions on forums. All these are things that we can either do ourselves, if we have the time, and we're really working on a tight budget, we're in bootstrap mode and want to do it ourselves. Maybe we want to learn so that we know what we're hearing whenever we do go out and hire an expert to do this type of work. So there's always going to be stuff that we can talk about in regards to that. And the fact that everybody keeps changing the game on us also makes it something that we'll always be able to talk about. Google publishes some type of major update to their algorithm every few months. Facebook is constantly changing the game on how we can build ads and what we can and can't advertise for. And then, as new laws get passed, like especially around cannabis and CBD and that kind of thing, it opens up, conversations on, well, now can I do this on my social media profile, and that without running the risk of getting shut down or blocked or banned or whatever. So there's always going to be, something going on that definitely requires maybe a brush up on SEO, or a revisiting particular type of content strategy. Because quite honestly, the things that we have to do today for SEO are not how we did things just even a year or two ago. So I think we're always going to have something that we can fall back on in terms of whether we want to call it free or DIY type work. And I think we've kind of covered really a lot of the good core stuff for right now, including optimizing your Google My Business, making sure that we're organizing our website content appropriately to help not only with users but also with search engines. How do we optimize video and today audio? So I think we're in a good spot if we wanted to talk about the next step, which would be some type of paid advertising. And a lot of people get scared when they talk about paid ads, because the first thing that comes to your mind is, well, shoot, that's going to cost me money. Absolutely. But what we're doing with paid advertising, whether it's with Google or Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn or whoever, is what we're saying is, I'm willing to pay for people who are interested, pay for eyeballs or traffic or likes or whatever it is, for people who have an interest in whatever it is I'm trying to advertise for. And done right, paid ads have a really great return on investment. The trick, though, is to make sure you do it right.
Right.
Otherwise, it becomes a black hole of just paying money to Google every month, wondering what the heck am I getting out of this. Fortunately, there's a lot of really great reporting tools to be able to show exactly, from what I like to call it, clicks and users from cradle to grave. Like, how did they find out about us? What ad did they click? All the way to, did they actually make a purchase on the website? And if so, how much was it? So that way we can determine very, very clearly, I paid Google X and I got Y, and that return on investment is 4 times what I paid them. So it's a win. And so again, going back to, done right, paid advertising is a good investment. It's not one of those things that I would recommend if you don't have a whole lot of experience diving into, because done wrong, it's really expensive.
Yeah. And that's what happened to me. So I think next month, that's what we're going to do.
Okay.
Let's do Google versus Facebook.
Ooh, okay. I like that.
Yeah, Google versus, because that to me, I feel like that's a good starting point. We hear all this great stuff about Facebook. We hear all this great stuff about Google, because Google was first. Google versus Facebook. Which way should I go? So I think that's going to be a really good one next month for us to dive into. And that may take us a couple of different episodes, but I figure that's a good place to start. Google versus Facebook, because I feel like I'm confused about. I've never did a Google ad, but I run my own ad for Facebook. Now I'm okay running my own ad and messing up because it's mine. I wasn't okay doing it for my client, who was happy, but it freaked me out, and I never offered the service again. I'm like, I'm not doing that, because that just stressed me completely out. And another thing around that too was mindset. Like, I charged her all of this money, and she was happy to pay it because she could. And I'm thinking, oh my God, what if she wasn't so nice? What if I had a monster in my hand? So it was that type of thing. I'm like, nah. Yeah. So let's do Google versus Facebook next month, and we'll talk about that. And so I still got a lot of homework to do myself, Chris. Every time I talk to you, I realize I still have a lot of homework to do myself. And so I definitely have to. But my life is just moving so quick, and so much is going on. So every time I stop, I'm exhausted. So let's do that. Listen, guys, next month we're gonna come back. We're gonna talk about Google versus Facebook and which one should you go with. So that's a good segment for next month. And that's gonna be a full segment. It won't be the Good Morning with Nat show as we normally do. It's gonna be Talk Tech Tuesday, the whole segment, because I feel like that's gonna work out better.
Awesome. Yeah, I think having very tightly knit themed structure to your content is really, really going to help. And just to kind of recap on what we talked about, how do we optimize our audio for SEO, and including voice search. Just a quick checklist that we can think of as we're producing this content. Make sure that you're producing high quality audio content. Invest in an actual microphone, so that you're not computers, built in. I hate to say garbage, but let's just call it like suboptimal audio mic. Upload your podcast and your audio content to all the streaming services available. Make sure that your content is out there everywhere. That's essentially us just casting a wider net, because me as a user, I might like Spotify, but maybe I don't like this other streaming service. So if we're everywhere, then we stand a better chance of getting found by users when they're doing their searches for content that they want to listen to. We also need to make sure that we're writing great titles and descriptions for each episode that we publish, and making sure that the keywords that we want to be found for are included in those titles. And I'm gonna go back to the whole tips for startups topic. If that's what our content is about, we need to make sure that we are including that phrase in our title and in our content, and in a way that is still easily readable and digestible, for people, because people don't read anymore. But that's how search engines are going to find the content that's related to what they are searching for, whether that's through a search engine on a desktop computer or a voice search on their smartphone. Sorry.
No, I was about to say, you got me so excited about launching Wise Women Invest, because I feel like I've recorded so much information for Good Morning Gwinnett, but I made so many errors, so now I know to go back on this new podcast and make sure it's all set up the right way. So as I'm sitting here, I'm saying to myself, man, I'm going to do this one so much better, because I know so much more on that side. Like, you asked me how to start a podcast, I can run it off to you, right? But if you ask me how to, set it up properly so it really gets my message out. Even with us just talking just now, you said something about cannabis, right? And I'm thinking, hadn't thought about that. That may not be on my podcast, because I'm not trying to build it all to get it shut down. because it's syndicated to Facebook or Twitter or wherever it's syndicated. So now I got to rethink that whole thing. Like, wait a minute, let me rethink that, So I'm excited about, just continuously to provide value to the audience and help them grow their business, especially local businesses. That's my heart, like to help. I want to help all of you guys, but if you have a business and you're trying to grow local, all this stuff is important. Yes, we all want to go global. Sometimes you're not even ready to go global, but you think you are. You think you're ready. And trust me, I did that before and it backfired in my face and I had to refund all the money. That's a story for another time. But and we didn't have the internet like it is now. And I did it. We were on TV, Chris. And when we got back, we were on TV in Dallas on Fox in Dallas. They interviewed us. We got back. We had all these orders that we could not fulfill. It was crazy. And I was like, oh my God, I panicked that day because it was just money. And my product was coming in from China and we had never really even sent like anything off for them to send it back. So sometimes you want to grow so quick. I say start in your own backyard first. Start in your backyard and then grow. And that's why I want to keep doing these segments to help you do that. Even when we talk about the ads, I'm sure you're going to tell us how to craft the ad that's specifically to your local market. And I think a lot of people think, well, I can't sell local. No, you can sell local. Whatever it is, you start local. Become known local. Like I'm a member of the Greater East Side Chamber, the Atlanta Black Chamber. I was a part of Gwinnett Chamber. I'm local, right? Even though my products can be global, really, because this podcast is international. It is. And I'll talk about everything global. But anyway, thank you so much. How can people, you got something to say?
Oh, it's talking about starting local and working global. I think is a really interesting stat. There are 3.5 billion searches done just on Google per day.
Wow.
A lot of those are going to be in your backyard, Wow. So I think you're right on the money for local business. Everybody has the ability to be able to market in their backyard, because odds are, somebody is searching for a product or a service that you're offering. And with 3.5 billion searches just on Google, that's not including, Bing or any of the other like DuckDuckGo or any of the other search engines that are out there, just on Google, 3.5 billion per day.
Wow,
that's and if all you get is 1% of that.
Yeah, can you imagine that? Like I'll probably be in Tahiti right now with 1% of 3 billion. Especially if it converted to sales. Absolutely. So listen, Chris, thank you again for being here today. It's Talk Tech Tuesday. Please tell people how to reach out to you before we go.
Absolutely. Any questions, people can definitely just leave in the comments, whatever streaming service that they subscribe to, and make sure that we're proactive on getting back to anybody, any questions there. If somebody has questions and they want to reach out directly, call me at the Conversion Mill. It's 770-322-4975, or they can email me at chris@theconversionmill.com, or drop by the website, which is theconversionmill.com, and ask away. I love answering questions and helping people, try to realize their goals. So always here to help.
Thank you so much. Listen, guys, you heard again, Chris Hood, Talk Tech Tuesday. We'll be back next month. We're going to talk about Google versus Facebook. That's going to be a good one. I already know. I'm already excited about that one. Chris, thank you again. You have a wonderful day. I know you're a busy man. I appreciate you delight for just being on here with us. And I'll talk to you again real soon.
It's always a pleasure. Next month, July. Holy cow.
That's right. That's right. We're there almost. Yep. So have a good one, Chris. Thanks a lot.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye. So listen, guys, I'm going to my last song, and I'll be back after this song to give you my word of inspiration for the day. I didn't give a chance to give it to you yesterday because I forgot to give y'all the word of the week. So Georgette came on in my place. But I'll be back after this song to give you the word for the day. So stay tuned, and I hope you enjoyed that episode with Chris as well, because he always has some really good stuff to share with us. So stay tuned to that.
I am stuck in the middle. Yeah, I'm stuck in between. I'm stuck in my position. I press the machine, so you're stuck in the middle. I guess we're stuck in between. Life is a riddle, yeah. And I don't know what it means, no. This is what it feels like. But you're not alone, 'cause I'm just like you. Let's share a ride and hitchhike. There is nothing we can't do. Ooh, baby, as long as I got you. I'm gonna open up my eyes this time. Open my heart and do it with a smile. I'm gonna love. Give me your love. You're stuck in the middle. Yeah, you're stuck in between. Things can only get better if you know what I mean. Once in the end, you realize what you want, the things that you dream of, and the things that you don't know. This is what it feels like. But you're not alone, 'cause I'm just like you. Let's share a ride and hitchhike. There is nothing we can't do. Ooh, baby, as long as I got you. Ooh, I'm gonna open up my eyes this time. Open my heart and do it with a smile. I'm gonna love. Give me your love. I'm gonna open up my eyes this time. Open my heart and do it with a smile. I'm gonna love. Give me your love.
Welcome back. So listen, guys, that's all I got for today. But before I go, I want to give you my word of inspiration, and here it goes. Greatness lies not in being strong, but in the right use of strength. Let me say that again. Greatness lies in not being strong, but in the right use of strength. Listen, and Henry Ward Beecher said that, and he was right. Sometimes you think you got to be strong. Nah, you got to know how to use the strength that you have. It's not always about being strong. It's about using the strength that you already have. It's about, I need to be better. No, use what you got already, because we got a lot in us that we could use. Whatever we're trying to do, we got a lot, but it's a mindset we got to make up. We got to know that. And it's not about, I got to keep going. I got to be strong. I got to be strong. No, you got strength already. Where can you use the strength that you already have? How can you use that strength to do the things that you want to do? And if you don't have the strength, you feel like I'm not strong, who can you lean on that has that kind of strength? I got to tell y'all something. I was on my mastermind call this morning, and I just threw it out there that I was working on a course, right? And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this course. And I've been contemplating this for about 2 weeks, and I'm gonna do this course. And I put it out to the group, and people started saying, hey, when you get finished the course, I want an affiliate link for the course. I'm like, my head just went, because and I think for me, the price point was a little bit like, I don't know if I should charge that, right? And I'm sitting there and I said, this is the price I'm going to charge. And I put it out. What was crazy is that those people, based on their strength, based on the strength that I have, my strength is I can create this course, right? Because it's my experience. This thing is from things that I've done. Their strength is that they have people in their network that they know is going to pay my price. And I was like, I pumped my brakes like, wait a minute, hold up a second, right? They knew that, and they said, make sure. And it was like, yeah, me too. It was like that kind of thing. And I'm like, whoa, hold up, right? It shook me because based on my strength, I can do what I can do. But based on the strength that they've built up with the people that they serve, they knew that those people in their community would pay for my course. They had the ability to pay for my course. So while I was kind of struggling with the price about the people that was in my community, they didn't even flinch. So sometimes it's not about your strength. It's about leveraging the strength that you have. It's not about building up a stronger strength. It's about leveraging your strength. My strength is I can create this course. Their strength is they got people that'll buy my course. I'm so happy about that. It was crazy. I felt great about that. So anyway, thank you guys for listening. You could have been anywhere in the world. You spent the last hour and a half with me and Chris, and I appreciate you and love you to life for that. Chris, thank you again. Listen, go to theconversionmill.com. If you need SEO help, you need somebody to do an audit on your website, Chris can do an audit on your website and show you all the things that are missing and things that you need to fix. He did it for me. He can do it for you. I talk to him and I bring him on the show because I believe in his ability to help you grow your business locally and globally when that time comes. Don't try to grow too fast because sometimes you're not ready for that. And I'm not trying to say that to discourage you. I'm just being honest. But from the place that I've lived from, there have been times that I wanted to grow so fast and it backfired in my face. I don't want that to happen to you. So take the necessary steps so that you'll be ready to grow your business. Understand the technology that Chris and the rest of the people that come on the show and the experiences that they bring to you. And so that way, you know, you're growing, you know, in a rate that you can handle. All right. Thank you again for listening. I really appreciate you and love your life for that. Be sure to follow the show on Instagram at Good Morning Gwinnett. Follow me on Facebook at Good Morning Gwinnett and follow me on the Twitter at GM Gwinnett. Also, if you miss any episodes of the show, be sure to go to goodmorninggwinnett.com to listen to past episodes there. And if you feel it so in your heart to support the show, be sure to buy a t-shirt from the Good Morning Gwinnett website. Check out my little spring summer line. It's cute. Like there's a map of Gwinnett on one of the shirts over there. There's a Make It a Great Day shirt, a couple of those shirts, like, you know, the things that I say here on the show. I'll be back again tomorrow at 10 a.m. God willing. Until next time, y'all. Until next time, stay tuned. Make it a great day. Bye now.
You've been listening to Good Morning Gwinnett. Make sure to tune in Monday through Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time to find out what's happening around Gwinnett. If you like this episode, subscribe now and share with your friends. To learn more about Noise Media Network, visit noisemedia.us.